it seems to me to be blindingly obvious, but I know that it isn't. And some of that is a misconception about the nature of history. Most people, if you ask them what you do in history, say you memorize facts or stories. And if they go a little further, they will say, if you don't learn about the past, you're condemned to repeat it. Although somebody pointed out to me that when Santayana said that, he was actually really talking not about history, but about psychology and the ways in which people, when they get themselves into a psychological rut, unless they recognize that rut, are going to stay in it. History doesn't work that way. There are just too many people. And nothing is going to be entirely analogous in the past to the present. So that, to me, is not the justification for history. But it seems to me that in common with the UK, the United States has always stressed the importance of civil society. Civil society cannot function when alternative perspectives are demonized. And that's the toxic culture that we're in now. And my students, who are very nice people, listen to a political discourse which is mutually contradictory. You know, President Obama cannot simultaneously be the love child of Malcolm X and not born a U.S. citizen. Those are incompatible legends that are going around. If he's Malcolm X's son, both his parents are American, he's American. You know, if he was born in the United States, you know, then it boggles the mind. So our students need to have tools for investigating those kinds of issues. So practical skills, research skills, questioning skills, inquiry skills. But then they need that second skill. As a historian, I'm part of a conversation. And I cannot yell at some other historian, nor do I want to, oh, you're stupid, and I don't have to contend with your ideas. I have to say, here's where I think your argument went wrong, and here's my evidence that supports my interpretation. And we need our students to do that with each other. My students won't even talk about anything controversial because they don't want to be sort of horrible. And horrible is the only model that they have. You know, so they can talk about sports, or they can talk about movies, or they can talk about Lady Gaga. But they can't talk about race. They can't talk about religion. They can't talk about values. The other thing is that my students, in a disciplinary way, and I think many other people do too, they've been taught to think that the goal of history is moralizing. You look at the past and you see what was bad in the past. And we see our goal as understanding the past. And of course we find in it the understanding we feel we need for the present. And my students often think that if we understand people who may be abhorrent to us, that we're condoning their conduct. And out of that grows the notion that differences are to be avoided, that everybody somehow has to view the world morally in the same way, otherwise there's some kind of monster. And I think we agree that there are monsters, and there have been monsters in the historical past. We gain something from understanding monsters, namely the ways in which monsters are different from people who may have ideas that put you off, that are nonetheless not monstrous. You know, somebody who lives in a free love commune may put you off, but that's not a monstrous choice to make. So to understand what somebody else gets out of that, and at the end of it you say, oh, okay, I see what you see about that. Not me, I won't live there. I won't do those things. I disagree with you. I'm going to vote differently. But you've had that conversation at an adult level. And so maybe what I'm talking about is sort of helping an adolescent culture grow up and become a mature culture. Now, whether policymakers actually want that is, I think, an open question. Do we want a citizenry that actively questions? Do we want a citizenry? I do. I want a citizenry that says, you know, can you put some facts in that? You know, a science-based politics, like a science-based medicine. You know, I don't want the process by which patients have questioned physicians has been enormously fruitful for patients and for physicians. They learned more about how to deliver good health care out of that process. If we question our officials and the people in authority, we will get a better political system out of it. We will have a more just society. And so I think that's at the heart of what history can be